and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. So have you ever wondered how Java objects store their identity and behavior? It all starts with attributes, the building blocks of any Java class. Think of attributes as the data or properties that define an object. For an example, a car class might have attributes like color, speed, or brand. In Java, these attributes are declared as fields or variables inside a class, and they help each object hold its unique state. Want to make them secure? You can set them as private and control access with getters and setters. That's encapsulation, one of the core pillars of object-oriented programming in Java. Whether you are building a simple game or a complex enterprise app, mastering Java attributes will give you the power to model real-world entities with code. Let's dive deeper and see how attributes bring your classes to life. So I hope you will be enjoying this amazing video in which we will be learning about attributes in Java. So if you understand this video and if you enjoy this amazing tutorial, so remember to hit a like, and if you are new on this channel, want to see more videos like this, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing, hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my videos which I will be uploading in future. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's dive into it. Alright, so we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you that in this video I will be telling you that what are Java class attributes here. And if we just talk about these class attributes which we use in Java, so in the previous chapter we have used the term variable for x, and x is a variable which we were using in the previous videos, and in that example as shown below, it is actually an attribute of the class, or you could say that the class attributes are variable within a class. So that's the thing, that you can use attribute with the class, and this is the example that how we create a class called main with two attributes which are x and y. So you can use some other variables as well, but in this case I am using two variables which are x and y here, and then we have created simply class, and in that class I have added some attributes which I want to add, like this one attribute of x which is a variable here, and in this variable I have assigned a value as 5, and then another variable with y, and in this variable I have assigned a different integer value of 3. So what I'm going to do is now I will be opening my text IDE which I was just using in the previous video, and you all know that in the previous videos of Java tutorial we were just working on this NetBeans IDE, and if you are a beginner starting with Java, I will prefer you to use this IDE because it has all the features, all the requirements which a beginner needed when they are starting with Java language. So that's why I'll be preferring you to use this. So now you can just see we have opened our NetBeans IDE, and now I will be removing the start page here because now we will be working on this main.java file here. After moving on to this file here, I will be now removing all the things from this public class main because we will be not needing all the things which we have written in this class main. We will be adding our own things here, so that's the reason I have removed all the things. Or you can remove the bracket as well because we have not generated any method yet, or if you want to create any method you can directly create here. But moving on to my Word document, here you can just see we have added one x variable and y variable, and in both we have added the values. In first variable I have added the value as 5, and second I have added the value as 3. So I will be copying these all things from here and I will be pasting it, but what I'm going to do is I will be just simply running it, and after running you can just see we are getting an error, and you can say not an error, but it is just giving me an information that the class you are running does not have a main method. So remember, when you are running anything in your class it should have a method as well, but here in this file, in this main.java file, we have not created any method. That's the reason we are just getting that information that you cannot run if you have not generated any method yet, because you are only running the class. And another term for class attribute is field, so you can use field here as well if you want. Then if you want to access attributes here, so you can access attributes by creating an object of the class and by using the dot syntax, and the following example will create an object of the main class with the name my object, and we can also use the x attribute on the object to print its value. So you can do these all things here to print this x attribute on the object, and you can just print its value. And this is the example that how you can create an object called my object and print the value of x. You can create object with any name you want, but in this case I have created the object called my obj, or you can say my object in short form. And here in the previous video as well, when we were just creating object and when we were working with classes and objects, so in that video as well I have told you that how you can create an object, and there as well I have created the object with the same name where I am creating right now. So I will be just copying these all things which I have written in this class, and I have also created one main method here. So now this time when I will be running all these things, I will be not getting any information that you have not generated the main method. Moving on to my NetBeans ID, I will be pasting all these things. You can just see we have created the class in which I have written this variable x as 5, and then we have also created one method in which we are running these all things by entering this main, and we are calling this function using this parenthesis. Remember, when you are using Java, when you need to run any function, when you need to run any attribute, so for that you need to use these parentheses here, so that you can call that attribute or call that function and you can get the output which thing, or you can say which text you have written in your integer or in your variable. Like in this case, in my variable I have written value as 5 and I am calling this main variable here because I am using this main class. That's the reason. And now when I will be running this thing here, so after running, you can just see, if I just show you here, we are getting an output as 5. Why we are getting it? Because we are running this main class here, and in this main class I have written this main here like this, and then I have also used this parenthesis to call this, and after calling this I have created one object which is named as my object, and I am running this using this variable which is x. If you are using any other variable name like y, z, so you need to write that with this object after this dot, so that you can get this you can say you can get this variable running here and you can get the output. So that's the way that how you can just run these all things, and I hope you understand that how we can just use class attributes here in Java. Moving down, if you want to modify attributes using in class attributes here, so for that you can just use this example that here it is written set the value of x to 40. So we are modifying the attributes in this case. So if you want to modify the value, if you want to change the value of your attribute which you are adding here, so for that you can just use this example. Here I have not created the x variable at the top here with the value. Now here I have created my object with x variable in which I have changed the value to 40, and you can change any other value as well if you want. Moving on here, you can just simply do one thing. You can paste all these things in the place of the previous things which we have copied, then save it here and run. After running this, you can just see we are getting output as 40. And why we are getting this output as 40? Because we are writing this my object dot x equal to 40. That's the reason. If you want to add any value with x, so you can add here, so you can get the output. But if you don't want to do that, so you can simply leave it empty and you can write my object dot x equal to 40 and you can get the output here in your output or in your terminal. Moving on to my what document here, if you want to override the existing value, so for that you can just use this example, and this example will change the value of x to 25, and if you want that your variable value should be changed to any other value you want, so for that you can just use this example. But this will be same as the top example which we have used, so if you want to do that you can do and you can check what output you are getting. But if you have understand the top example, so I will not prefer you to move on here and understand. If you don't want the ability to override existing value, then you can declare the attribute as final. Like at the top we have just override the values and we have changed the values of the previous values which we have written. And if you don't want to just override the existing values and if you want to declare the attribute as final, so you can do that. And after declaring the final value, you cannot change the value here of your attribute. Like at the top we were changing 10 to 40, but in this case when you will be using this final keyword or final attribute, so by declaring this attribute you can just not change the value of your attribute after adding this final keyword here. And that's the case why we added it, and it will generate an error, cannot assign a value to a final variable when you will try to change the value. And that's the case how you can do that. So I hope you understand how we can just work on that, and if you want to understand what are multiple objects, then you can move down and you can understand it. But I will be copying this here and then we can just work on this. And moving on to my NetBeans ID, I will be pasting it, and you can just see we have changed this value here, this 10 value to 25. If I run it here like this, after running you can just see we are getting an exception error, and it is saying me that main java.lang.runtime exception uncompatible source code, and it cannot assign a value to a final variable x. And that's the way to use these all things here in Java. I hope you understand how we can just use class attributes in Java, how we can assign a value to an attribute, how we can modify a value to an attribute, and how we can assign a final keyword or final attribute so that our previous attribute should not be changed. And that's the way to do that. So if you have enjoyed this video and if you understand how we can use class attributes in Java, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you're new on this channel, want to see more videos like this, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell so you can get the notifications of all my videos which I will be uploading in future. So just I will be meeting you next tutorial or in next project using Java. So for today, goodbye.